when we did those Kickstarters, I was told directly from fans that they were hesitant and or wouldn't support the crowdfunding because they've been burned, and not just on the order. JDF, he actually it's so amazing, because if you ask who is the Power Ranger, like when it comes like when most Power Rangers fan, they'll say JDF. Even if you hated this man, like, what were you doing? What were you think? You weren't thinking to text out or tweet first of all, but it's like, and then for ASJ not to.
What do you think about the people who have said nothing about it? Like some of his business partners, maybe other Power Rangers. What is going on with them in their silence?
What breaks my heart, I don't want to even name names because I'm sure, because the community is small, people are going to be talking, so it's like, do I want to say it? But there are people that are in Austin St. John's Circle that are Ranger actors that speak on everything.
Stop talking about Karen Ashley without saying Karen Ashley, okay? All right, everybody, I am here with someone near and dear, a new member to the Resilient Army, the founder, writer, director, producer of Unworthy Productions. How are you? It's Jordan Barnett, right?
Yes, that is right. Thank you, Henry. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. Man, I feel worthy.
All right, we're gonna get to the unworthiness of the Arbiter. It's the Arbiter, right?
Yeah, the Arbiter.
All right, the Arbiter is one of the earlier main villains, the genesis of the company. But I do want to say thank you for your time and consideration for coming on my platform, because a lot of people are scared to sit across from me, or just if you will. So, first question: what is your earliest memory of Power Rangers? How did you become so involved in it?
My earliest, that's so funny. This is going to show you what type of fan I am. Ready?
Let's go. Let's see it.
All right, next. My earliest memories, I was just reminiscing the other day.
Holy.
Megazord. Hey, hold on. Who's this? Little me right there with the Green Ranger.
Holy.
And that, if you can see the date, that's the Christmas of '93. So that was the first year that my movie came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm day one.
Wow.
We don't joke. Day one JDF fan over here.
Oh, okay. Well, I had planned on saving JDF for later, but since you're a day one JDF fan, what was your favorite episode of JDF? And it doesn't have to be NPR.
It doesn't have to be, but I feel like
I know it's going to be. It has to be, right?
I feel like we as Mighty Morphin fans get so much hate because it's like, it's Mighty Morphin or nothing. Exactly. But it's like, you gotta understand, like '93. Shout out to Drew Danger, who's also there at the day one of Mighty Morphin. But like, it's one of those things that like you can't put into words. I can only liken it to the Marvel craze at the peak of the Avengers hype, of like Power Rangers being at the peak of popularity. So like Green with Evil, like that was it. I had the whole VHS. Yeah, I had the whole VHS set. Like it changed my mind as a kid. Like, oh, I just can do that.
Now, speaking of Green with Evil, right? When Power Rangers first came out, were you a Red Ranger fan?
Oh yeah, of course.
There
Jason was my before JDF. Jason was the man, and in terms of like iconic, like martial arts imagery or I guess sound in this case, like second only to the of Tommy is the of Jason. Like 1 and 2 right there.
All right. Okay. All right. We're going to come back to Austin. He's recently been viral for some interesting reasons, but I kind of want to stick early on with the Unworthy Productions. I want to just dive right into it head first, if you will. So we established who your favorite Power Ranger was. So how did you get into making these phenomenal guys? If you haven't checked out Unworthy Productions, if you into Power Rangers, go see it. It is very adult in here. Power Rangers are getting clapped. They are, when I say clapped, I mean they're dying. And it's not shy. I don't know how the hell this got on the kids channel, but we gotta talk to YouTube about that. Anyway, but how did you get into making this very adult take of Power Rangers, if you will?
I mean, I kind of fell backwards into filmmaking, but I mean, I've been a Power Rangers fan obviously since day one, and I just knew that very early on, like, I wanted to tell a story that I felt like, and that started in 2018, and we started working on it in 2017. So that was around the time the new movie had just come out, and I just wanted to, I wanted to see a Power Rangers that I felt like grew up with its audience. So I wanted to kind of make a more mature, but not too mature, version of Power Rangers, because I've always been a big proponent or a big rabble rouser that Power Rangers could be as big of a franchise as Marvel and the Avengers. So I kind of wanted to bring that, like, for all audiences sensibilities to the franchise, which I think the Power Rangers brand should be, but we've either catered to the extreme dark when it comes to fan stuff like the bootleg universe or the kid stuff.
I'm happy you mentioned the bootleg universe, because you are literally one step below the bootleg universe. Let me see, guys, if I can pull up bootleg universe. Power Rangers bootleg universe is literally like, it should be NC 17 or something, man, because what I be seeing
is brutal
in the Power Rangers.
Zach doing cocaine and with strippers, like, it's like
that might not be too far fetched from the real life. But anyway, Power Rangers bootleg universe. I can't even play it because of the violence in it, especially when, like, the Black Rangers start getting busy. I'm like, all right, man, they pulled out the blickies. With
the knife kills?
Yo, bro. I was like, and you know the crazy thing is, this on kids TV too? Like, I don't know what is the.
It can't be.
I don't think so. I have the ability to save it. But
I mean, that was so extreme. There was a big controversy when it came out that Saban, like, tried to pull it because it was just like, it's too brutal for kids. Power Rangers, like, JDF came out with a statement at the time. Like, the actors were talking about it. It was that big. Like, it was that crazy.
You know, Kim, look, if they would have did this into a full-length movie, I would have been there. Me too. If they would have just polished the special effects a bit, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, can we get another hour of this? But anyway, yeah. I don't want to.
It's funny too, because Eddie Shanker, I've talked to him about it. It was meant to be an actual parody. Like, it's supposed to be one of those, like, so over the top, like in a world where Power Rangers is rated R. Like, it's like almost like to that extreme. Like, it's not meant to be taken completely serious, which is interesting.
Which is ironic, because I feel like the original fans of MMPR, like yourself and I, we want a Power Rangers rated R. We want, like, where's our Logan? You know how Logan was like the first rated R X-Men movie. We're like, oh man, we need that. And I feel like people like, you know, the bootleg universe and you know, Unworthy Productions, your stuff is not rated R, but you know, it definitely pushes the line. I feel like we wanted that.
I aim for a hard PG-14. That is, like, the line I try to go for.
Aim for a hard PG-14. Okay, so with that being said, right? How do you make up the cast? Like, where do you get the people from? How do you meet them? Because I've seen this behind the scenes. This is a full-blown production, guys. Make no mistake. And there goes our guy right there, Jordan. I don't know who this young lady is, but there's Jordan. I'm talking about the filming is crazy. It looks very professional. And that's the best compliment I suppose I can give you. How do you come up with the cast for the people in Unworthy Productions?
I mean, it's been a journey from episode 1 onwards. I mean, we started with a very small team, a very close-knit group of friends and filmmakers. And as we've gone on, we've expanded with cosplayers, acquaintances, friends of friends. And you can kind of see the evolution of our filmmaking. I didn't even, like, I was originally just the writer, editor. I didn't start directing until episode 3 and onwards. So it's all been just an evolution, just a snowball effect of filmmaking. And shout out to Eric Fuchs. If I were to put the onus on anyone who's like amazing in terms of like putting the group together. It's him, because he's the head of Fight Film, which is our stunt action crew division.
Okay.
And from there, kind of just expanded out to you know, crew like gaffers and, you know, which is lighting and like, you know, sets I've always been big on, because I always scout ahead of time to find locations that look more cinematic. That's also evolved over time. Also become way more expensive, as you've seen in Psycho Menace. You're literally in space. Like, that was crazy.
Okay, so you're like jumping way ahead, but it's okay. Very expensive. Now, I do know you guys have a Patreon, but how do you actually get the funding for such extravagant, I hate to say it, but like YouTube videos? I mean, they're great, but they're on YouTube. How do you get the funding? Because they're way overproduced. They're not your typical YouTube video. Nowhere close. Is all the funding coming from like AdSense and Patreon? Like, you know, I'm not trying to audit you or anything, but I'm just like,
no, it's fine.
What's the budget?
No, I mean,
like?
it's 100%. You nailed it. It's all AdSense and support from our patrons, and everything else just comes directly out of my pocket. I've spent tens of thousands. Like, I try not to like add it up to look at the number, because it will just depress me. But yeah, we're spending like 10 to 15K easy per episode. Just location, food, just the bare bones. And I cut down costs a lot because I'm also a cosplayer, so I do most of the costumes. Or I direct lines to people who do costumes, so I get like a discount on those. But for the most part, I make the things. That's why we can keep costs down as much as they are. But the reason why it looks as good as it does is like, and that's like the biggest compliment I can get from fans, is that
it's very legit. Like,
it's been like oh, thank you. It's been likened to like Netflix quality, and I'm like, that's all. Like, that's a huge compliment, because it's all just coming.
It
out of
is
pocket,
great quality. I've seen some of the costumes, like this beast or whatever, from episode 3. Very real looking. Who made the costume, if you will? Like, is that something you made? Someone just had laying around? Halloween costume?
Which costume?
It's about 5 minutes in, right there.
Oh, the giant wolf monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one actually, that one was heavily customized, but the mask and the claws, those were actually from our pal Colin, who does one of our sister series, Shattered Past. So he worked at a costume store, and he gave me a discount on the mask and the claws, and the rest of it was like, I think like a bear and like with a horse feet or something from another costume, and I spray painted it to all match, so it's like like the body's like brown and the feet are like hooves, and I spray painted it all to kind of like look as one piece.
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It looks great. It looks great, and the quality of your of your work is great. Filming, cinematography, editing. How are you able to convince people to do this? Is everyone Power Ranger fans? Because I'm like, yo, this is not like some easy stuff to just pull off. It's like, bro, I've been editing this episode for a while.
Bro, I kid you not. Basically, once we start production on something, I'm locked in for like 6 months to a year, just in editing and just the logistics of putting together like the sound, the VFX, all of it. Like, so it's like from start to finish. That's why productions take so long. And I've just been lucky. Like, I've been lucky and blessed to have the friends that I do, that, and also people that like, they believe in the vision of what we're doing enough that, you know, because nobody wants to waste their time. Like, you don't want to like jump into a project that never gets finished, or you never have anything to show for it at the end of the day. So I always try and like do right by people's time, and try, and if I utilize something or someone, I try and make it as big as possible and as good as possible, so that they feel like their time wasn't wasted. And yeah, we've just kind of built up over the last, oh my god, we started this project like 5 years ago. Yeah, we built up a good repertoire, I guess.
Okay. Speaking of building up a good repertoire, y'all are doing all of this with $15,000 per episode per se, right? And it's coming from donations. How do you feel when you see I'm sure you heard about when the order got funded and they got over 140 some odd $1,000 and nothing ever came out? How was you impacted? Because this happened in 2016. No lie, if I am a Ranger fan and you say, hey, I want to make Unworthy Productions, can you help me out? I see the order, I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, can you touch, did the failure of the order have any impact on you whatsoever, do you think?
I mean, I don't have to think. I know directly because I've been told as much from people that, like, we've done 2 Kickstarters before, both of which only made $1,000, so $2,000 total for episode 2. And I've got a real problem with asking for money in general, or just asking for help. Ironically, working in a big collaborative art form like filmmaking, but that's just me. I don't like to bother people or chase people down, especially for money. So then after that, it was just kind of like, okay, well, I'll just take it upon myself to do it. But when we did those Kickstarters, I was told directly from fans that they were hesitant and or wouldn't support the crowdfunding because they've been burned, and not just on the order, but I think Esty did a whole video about it. Like, there's another Power Rangers fan film as well called MMPR or something.
Oh, you're talking about the Michael Copon, the independent Power Ranger movie. I think so, right?
No, not that one, but that one as well. There's another one.
Survival's End with Austin St. John. But his goes back. I think this
not
one.
That one.
Damn,
another one.
Look, I'm lost. I'm like, bruh, I only know about these 3. Well, I think Michael Copon, he double dipped and did another one. But I don't know about all these failed crowdfunded movies or whatever. Now,
but that was kind of the problem, is that once we came on the scene, there was already environment where people had been betrayed by crowdfunders before that, and what can we do? I understand if you've been burned before. Why would you trust if you couldn't earn the trust from actual actors from the show? How could you trust random fans?
But you guys actually have a channel. You actually put out content. I know it may be a little slow, but hey, here's our track record. Here's our history. So, and I remember I was on a live stream. I'm like, give money to these guys. Give money to Unworthy Productions. They're putting out content. Hey, you got a new episode 3 months ago, The Psycho Menace. And he out here clapping people too. But I'm just saying, these people have a track record of putting out stuff. It's not like, hey, I'm a famous celebrity, I'm making something with my celebrity friends, give us some money and we gonna put out this product, we gonna offer all these perks, and then when the shit hit the fan, we gonna blame SAG. I mean, I don't know.
Well, hopefully now, because that was episode 2. Hopefully now we've established that, no, it takes a year between productions, but we're gonna promise to put something out. We're gonna follow through with our word eventually. It's gonna happen. But I always I want the quality to be where it needs to be. I'll never release something prematurely if it doesn't look good to me.
Okay.
But yeah, the order, coming into that environment, the order was something people cited directly as, oh yeah, they didn't do it, so why would you? With $140,000, Henry, I would.
That's a season.
I would build the Megazord with 140.
Oh man, yeah. You use a digital one, but I'm just saying, 140,000 is a lot of money to just go up in smoke. And I would have loved to seen what people at your studio could have done with it, but it is what it is. Now, since you are a Power Ranger fan, have you ever reached out to any Power Rangers and said, hey, you should be in my Unworthy production? Have you ever reached out to anyone?
A lot, yeah.
And they all just been like, nope. You don't have to name names because they may be still thinking.
Well, Christopher Patrick David, I asked, and they said yes, indirectly through my friend DJ, who does Bloodline of the Grid, which is another fan series out there. They did great work. But yeah, Christopher K. Lee and Patrick David. And Gosei, who were all in Psycho Menace, they said yes. JDF, he actually it's so amazing because if you ask who is the Power Ranger, like when it comes when most Power Rangers fan, they'll say JDF.
Yeah,
but he's not somebody I would even dare to approach and ask. Just because it's like, oh, you're the Green Ranger, but he's such a guy. He came to us, like he messaged us directly and was like, "Hey, I just talked about you on." At the time, it was 2020, so he just done he was making his rounds with the comic book stores, doing the comic book protection program thing.
Oh, the PPP stuff during the PPP era.
Yeah, and just out of the blue, like it's on his JDFN channel, but he just gives us a shout out and said like in terms of the brand, these guys are doing it right, and that kind of opened up a line of communication. And we were in talks to possibly have him be a cameo in episode 5, which would have been crazy. But now with hindsight too, and this is I spoke about it before, but he wanted to do it, which was so surprising, but he wanted to kill off Tommy. And I didn't understand. He wanted to kill off Tommy in Unworthy. And I was like, no, I know I'm known for killing Rangers in Unworthy, but I was like, I'll never kill Tommy. What? No.
Well, I believe
now I understand.
Yeah, he'd been trying to kill off Tommy for a while so he can do the Legend of the White Dragon. But that would have been epic if you would have got him in as a cameo in episode 5, which is yet to come out. I think, are y'all on episode 4? I don't want to.
Yeah, we just finished 4 now. We're 5 is our next one.
Yeah, all right. I just want to make sure I'm like, I know I did my research. But yeah, so what his passing, I think it surprised a lot of people. Did you ever like look into it or anything like that? Like where were you when he passed? Like, you know, it's like kind of like 9/11, but for Power Ranger fans, if you will.
That's a great comparison because just like 9/11, and like I'm not a huge like celebrity like to get awestruck by celebrities like that, but like JF is one of the few and probably the only celebrity I've ever felt such an impact from their loss, just because it's like he represented, I guess, so much more to me in childhood that like it's like hero goggles. But it felt like a bomb went off. Like I remember like being murmurings like going through the community the morning of like, did you hear what happened? Did you hear? It's like, what? No. And you don't want to believe it. So you hear through the grapevine just fans talking like, oh yeah, I heard he died at a like, wait, what? No, I don't believe it. And then a couple hours later, TMZ officially came out with like the, you know, Power Ranger actor found dead. And it was just shell shock.
I remember when they announced it, it didn't feel real. I'm like, okay, this is another fake thing that, you know, but when they said TMZ, I'm like, man, TMZ don't miss. They don't miss. No. When they say someone dead, you best believe it, that they are gone. And, you know, we were kind of talking before the stream, and you said, this is how you actually found my content. So have you been ninja watching from day one?
Was that day one? Is that when you started the channel?
I started stream. My first stream was on JDF. My very first live stream. If you go all the way back to the beginning, when I first started it, it was Death and Divorce, JDF, and then like literally. Yes. Wow, what? How the hell you been lurking in the shadows for over a year just ninja watching?
Well, I binged a lot of your channel then because I fell down the conspiracy hole of like, who did this? You want somebody to blame? It was like, who took him from us?
Oh,
so yeah, I watched all those videos, and then you know how YouTube goes. Like it wasn't recommended in the algorithm anymore. But then recently with the Austin stuff, that's when it popped back. That's when I subscribed and started going down the rabbit hole. where it was like, oh man, this is like the dark side of Power Rangers, the adult side.
I am not gonna lie, man. The Austin stuff, it started from, I think I just did like a Red Ranger. Like I was going through a period where I was like, all right, I'm gonna do the Green Ranger, I'm gonna do the Red Ranger, I'm gonna do the Black Ranger, Blue Ranger, Pink Ranger. And then for some strange reason, the Red Ranger just kept coming up. It was that, and then it was the PPP stuff that came up. And then from there, people, I got the court docs, and I'm like, holy shit, it's looking really bad for our guy, considering the $230,000 that he alleged. I say allegedly, but I saw the court docs that he signed out for. So it's just, how did you feel when he got arrested for the PPP stuff? Was there a lot of talk in the community? Because I wasn't doing YouTube back then.
There was, but I don't want to say I still had rose-tinted glasses back then, but I kind of did. It was kind of like, hey, it is, and like we've been through so many things with like the Amber Heard stuff. It was like innocent until proven guilty. Let's hear him out. Like we don't know for sure. Like, and that's Jason. That's our Red Ranger. That's the OG. You gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. Like so, like I was a big proponent of that at first. Until like I've watched your videos and others that talk about how there's a 97% conviction rate or whatever for that. And I was like, oh, well, okay, well, and then more thing, and then the that was like the first chip in the armor, and then the thing that came out with the assistant Zachary or whatever, that whole debacle with JDF.
Oh, yeah, you know what? The Zachary Taylor McGinnis, the post that was I guess heard around the world. That was,
how could you not?
Man,
it's monstrous. It's like, why, even if you hated this man, like what were you doing? What were you think? You weren't thinking to text out or tweet first of all, but it's like, and then for ASJ not to. Like I was so proud of ASJ when after JDF died, he came out and made a statement. And I want to believe it. Like, look, looking back at the statement now with hindsight, it's like I don't know. At the time, it was like, hey, all right, coming together. Like red and green are finally, they're gonna bury the hatchet. It took terrible circumstances, but and then after that statement, it's like I don't know, man. And now with the newest stuff, it's just like you're making it so hard to defend you.
What do you mean? You don't want a Nazi shirt with a Hitler one-liner on it? Come on, man. Them things would be flying off the shelves.
I'm wearing my Ranger merch. This is official David Yost. This is affirmative clothing. I'm rocking the Triceratops, Billy. Yes.
Yeah, Billy is safe. Billy is safe.
Yeah. No quotes.
No quotes. No quotes. But yeah, man, this demon on steroids stuff. Did you? I'm sure by now you watched it.
I've watched it.
Okay.
I had to watch it. Because I don't want to be that other fan that just blindly defends something. And like I think I'm probably a good like thermometer of like what the average fan feels, because I'm a diehard. I mean, you saw the picture. I'm a diehard Morgan fan. I got the helmets up here. Like
okay.
So like these are my OG heroes. So I want to give you every benefit of doubt possible. And yes, he said oh wait.
What happened?
You
You popped out the player. All right, there you go. You're back.
Left.
You're back.
I'm back. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, we got a phone call. Yeah. He said the demon on steroids one, but it's like that's not a defense. Just to be like, oh yeah, he was a demon on steroids. That means I'm. But if you're and this is the best thing I've heard, is that if you put that man's quotes on a shirt, whether or not he had good one-liners, you're inadvertently continuing his legacy. Like, why would you ever want to do that? Like, it's not. Maybe you can argue it's not a cosign, but you're still continuing what he represented, and now you're advertising in merch. Like, I just can't get behind that. And I've seen fans defend it, which is even more crazy.
I'm happy you mentioned fans defending him. One fan wrote that, hey, I commend you for being unapologetically yourself in this world. The new clothing line is probably what these snowflakes need. You're a warrior, my friend, and may God bless you. This was liked by Austin St. John. So apparently, if you are not cool with with Hitler shirts, you may be a snowflake. And Austin St. John approves of this statement. Do you think this is going to have like a negative impact on his fan base long term, his career? Where do you see him moving forward from this?
I wish he would just make like an actual statement instead of doing the social media move of just not saying anything and just being like, I'm just gonna ignore it or let my reps talk about it and defend me.
Let his team do the work.
Yeah, I mean, in the short term, it might not look on the surface because if you go to his page, even there, like it's as if it didn't happen for the most part. You see comments here and there. Even on our page, we've gotten comments directly talking about Jason and like getting into that guy, and like, so in the short term, it might look like his most diehard fan base is still behind him. But anybody on the fence and anybody who has any like feeling of what's right and wrong would hear that and be like, at the bare minimum, it makes you raise an eyebrow. Like even the way he brought up that guy in his list of examples, it's like why was that name specifically the only example you gave of warriors was that guy?
Was Hitler?
Why?
Oh my God!
Like, anybody? Anybody?
You know,
you chose that guy. Why?
I don't know, man. There's rumors that may be something what he's really about. I don't want to go down the conspiracy theories, but the fact remains that was the first name that came out of his mouth, and
first and only. There weren't others.
That is true.
Like,
well, he posted a picture of Gandhi like shortly after, and for the first 48 hours, it was he doubled and tripled down, and then it wasn't until I think 72 hours later where his team said he was never going to be on there. But you can see for yourself when the website drops.
I mean, I hate that gaslighting because if they don't add him to a shirt now, it's only because it's not genuine, and it's like it's essentially lying, bold face you like we were never gonna do that, even though we literally said that. It's like, oh wait, Jason, you're better.
Hey yo, what
better
the
than
fuck?
this. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, because I remember when it first came out, and they were aware of the blowback because people were basically tagging like my live stream that I did. And he posted the picture of Gandhi. He was like, no, diving deep into history's leadership, I explore the good and bad, the impactful, uncovering lessons from both heroes and villains. More word salad. But he never said, hey, I'm not doing Hitler shirts. It was just Gandhi and stuff. So there is a little bit of a walk back, if you will, but it's not if you say something public like that, you need to address it publicly. Not through your fans, kind of like what you said. So now, speaking of that, what do you think about Amy Jo Johnson calling his ass out? Did you see that coming?
That's what blew it up. Like it wasn't until that comment that I start seeing like people commenting on the page and sending me DMs about it. Because it started getting me reported, and like it was like you have to make a statement. Once it started being reported by like entertainment, like mainstream media sites, it's like at that point you gotta say something, and it just sucks that like it feels like once JDF is gone, like there's like a civil war happening in the Power Rangers community.
Well, I guess people are picking sides, but I mean it's an easy pick if you got to choose between Amy Jo Johnson and Austin St. John. I think most people are going to side with Amy on this one, but she did, and I've watched interviews with her before, and I get the impression that she doesn't like him. She referred to him as, I haven't spoke to that guy in a while.
Yeah, she doesn't really talk about him, and I've never really seen them together in like interviews or anything. Like she usually was paired with JDF. So
yeah, that was probably the love of her life. But speaking of her, she recently in content world, she recently dropped the return, and she did do a crowdfunding. Now, how would you like to have $500,000 in 45 minutes? What movie will we get out of you guys? Okay, so
I would build one.
All right, so you would build a Megazord. That's probably like a goal of yours, I'd imagine, to build a real life Megazord.
Like a fully functional one, like it literally moves and cons. Like,
there's a real life Gundam. I don't know if you're into that at an amusement park, that you can actually buy a ticket and go see. It's in Japan. It's in Japan, and it's life size. And it moves, and you can go there. I was watching the video, on the internet and all that good stuff. Yeah. But her comic book in this Gundam, it'll pop up in a minute, but it is huge. It's massive. Did you fund her comic book at all? Did you?
No, I'm too broke myself too.
He's like, fund it. He's like, I need money too, man. I need money
it's
too.
Good for her. I'm glad she got so much money for the comic. I mean, like that's more money than that's as much money as Legends of the White Dragon got, didn't they? Didn't they make $500,000 from their Kickstarter?
I am not, in all honesty, I've never looked it up. I
think so. It up. I want to. I'm not. But yeah, that's a lot for a comic.
Yeah, it is a lot for a comic. Have you read any of her comic at all?
Yeah, I have.
What did you think? Should they adapt it into a series, or is it best represented in a comic book form?
I mean, there's only 2 of 4 out so far. It's hard to say without seeing the last 2. From what I've read so far, there hasn't been that much on-screen action. A lot of it's kind of like happening in the background or like in montage form. So I'm not like, if you were to extend those scenes, maybe. But like, I was just curious because after Once and Always, like I liked it, but I didn't love it, and I was hoping that maybe the return would have been more of like the 50th anniversary, like Mighty Morphin celebration that I expected Once and Always to be. I don't want to be overly critical, but
why you like? I want to keep the door open just in case you want to be in one of the cameos.
I mean, I doubt you'd ever want a cameo in Unworthy. I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, that would be a dream come true because everyone's childhood crush was Amy Jo Johnson.
Oh, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But it's what I expected. Not what I expected, but it's clearly her vision of Mighty Morphin. Like it's even down to like her character not being Kimberly. It's what's her name, Amelia or something like that.
Amelia or something. Yeah, she didn't like change her name, and she's trying to distance herself from Power Rangers. Which I'm not trying to get an Amy Jo Johnson cameo or interview. Which I would love though, Amy. If you want to come chat, come holler at me. But I said this comic is representative of her real life and how she views some of
she wrote it too. I feel like the writing is kind of like a window into the soul of the creator. So it makes sense that it's kind of the vision of Kimberly that is through her lens. So, but
I was
as an MMPR, it's not exactly what I was looking for so far anyway.
Okay, so not your cup of tea. I thought it was interesting that she only focused on MMPR and didn't like do anything with like any other iterations of Power Rangers, if you will. Like, not the Zeos, the Turbo. She cut all that out. And then I started putting 2 and 2 together. I'm like, I never seen her at a Zeo or, any type of collabs with any of them. And I'm like, I never seen them at a con together. I'm like, she keeps to herself. But you brought up Once and Always. What did you think of Once and Always Power Rangers getting clapped? Well, just one got clapped. It was a soft clapping, if you will. It wasn't like a knife through the back and coming out the front. It wasn't like it wasn't one Power Ranger in here was deemed unworthy, if you will. What did you think of Once and Always?
I liked it. I mean, I'd be lying if I don't want to lie. So I'd be lying if I loved it, but I liked it enough. It didn't do what I wanted, which was I want Power Rangers to be revived. I want something to be so good it's undeniable to even the average viewer. Like I don't want people to just walk away from once a 30th anniversary special Power Rangers and be like, yeah, it was okay. Like it should be like oh my god, it was mind blowing. Like that should be the reaction. You know what I mean? That's what I want as a fan.
You know, I think we all want that as a fan, and I think it's coming at some point. What 2025, if you will, Power Rangers, reboot. All right, now,
yeah.
Are you hopeful? Are you hopeful for it, or is it going to just? You will reserve judgment. I'm
hopeful.
You're hopeful.
That's probably more accurate. I'm going to reserve judgment. Just because they've tried, and look, I actually like the 2017 movie for what it was. I make fun of it in the first episode of Unworthy, but only for like the weird, gooey Goldar. Like that was weird. But like all that movie really needed was a more accurate Goldar and more faith in the. And that's my thing. It's like whoever makes it, you have to love Power Rangers, and you can feel it when it comes out. So you can tell the filmmakers in that movie cared more about the interaction between like the actual civilian characters, but when it became about Power Rangers, they were like, "Yeah, get over with, whatever, more Zords, whatever, get out of it."
Yes,
like you gotta love all parts of it, you know.
I think it's going to be hard to find someone to reboot the series that didn't grow up with it. You know what I'm saying? That's not a fan of it. So you have to find someone, like you said, who's a fan, who's familiar with the fandom, who knows what, you know, its core fans from MMPR that are about as old as us would like to see. But speaking of fans, have you ever went to a Comic-Con?
Oh, yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Which Comic-Con did you have the best experience at? That you would say, hey, look, I went to this one as a Power Ranger fan. You want to go here?
You know what? I would say, especially as a Power Rangers fan, the 2018 Power Morphicon that we went to when we won the fan film contest, that was awesome. It was good energy, good vibes. I met I say good vibes. It's funny because Christopher Came and Lee at the time when I met him there. This is before I worked with them, clearly. But when I spoke to him, it was like at an after party, and I'm like, is he gonna? I hope he watches this because it's a funny story. But I was like, we were both. I was drunk and he was clearly a little drunk as well. And I was like, oh my god, it's Andros! You're Andros! And he looks at me, he's like, my name's Chris.
It's like, oh, chill out, man.
It's like, oh, right, I forgot. Sorry.
Oh, you know, I tried to get this guy on for an interview and it didn't work out. But keep going with the story. So he told you to chill out, and his name was Chris.
Yes, and this was the year we released episode 1, so we showing different actors the footage before it went on YouTube, and I remember showing it to Steve Cardenas. No, what's his name? What's his last name? Steve Rocky, the guy, the actor who plays Rocky.
Steve Cardenas. Yeah, Steve Cardenas.
Okay. Yeah, we were showing him footage, and his only note, and I remember him looking so like bored, like he was just like, oh, you're showing me something? Okay. His only note was, your kick should be faster. And he walked away.
I mean, look, man, look, your choreography in Unworthy Productions, it's not like you got the stunt director from John Wick out there, all right? You know, and it's no slight to anyone. I'm just saying, like, hey, we're a small group on a $15K budget. I think the kicks are fine. Everything seems to be entertaining enough for me, and it looks like to be for millions of other people who viewed your content, if you will. Now, I don't want to keep. Look, that's just me. With that being said, you went to a con. Power Morphicon is the best con to go to. Who is your favorite person to cosplay as? That you do.
I mean, I have my favorite. It's between the Blue Ranger, just because clearly I love Power Rangers, or Spider-Man. I used to cosplay Spider-Man and go to like kids' hospitals and stuff like that. That was fun.
Okay.
Because to a kid, you're not just wearing a costume. It's like, oh my god, you're actually Spider-Man.
Okay, all right. I can get behind that. Now, any other things that you guys have going on? I know you got your Twitter. I know you have your Patreon. When can we expect episode 5? I know you just dropped episode 4. Did you start production on episode 5 3 months ago?
Yeah, episode 4 came out 2021.
Wait,
we do like one release.
Whoa. Okay, sorry. You just released the Psycho Menace 3 months ago, right?
Yeah.
When can we?
So our next release is going to be episode 5, and we're aiming for that by the fall. And then after that, we're going to be releasing kind of like a Psycho Menace was a side story. We're doing one for the Death Ranger, who's in Boom Comics.
Oh, nice!
And that'll be after that.
Nice.
Fall area.
Any talks in ever doing like a movie, or is it always going to be YouTube? Because I'm like, the stuff you put out, I ain't gonna hold you, is better than Tubi. So.
Oh, appreciate that.
Like, any talks for a movie?
I would say, yeah. After episode 5 is when I want to kind of focus on something that's more original to release as like a pitch for like an actual series. But for me, Unworthy's always kind of been like building the skill set to create more original tokusatsu, Sentai inspired stuff. But yeah, after episode 5 in Death Rangers, when we plan to do something that's original that we could potentially auction off somewhere to be made into a full-length series.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of your series, your villains are always like evil, bro. They're like if I was to say like to classify the evilness of them, I would probably put them up there with Vecna from Stranger Things. Let me see if I could find a picture of Vecna. I don't know if you guys are familiar, people watching. Vecna, Stranger Things, especially I think the Arbiter said everyone's a virus and I am the cure. That's a great one-liner. However, that is a one-liner from like I want to say The Matrix. Agent Smith, even though Vecna is, you know, yes, I'm a movie aficionado, or used to be. When Agent Smith had him in there, he was like, "You guys are like a virus, and I am the cure." And then
it was that line was I inspired by that scene. And Vecna, yes, also Vecna, which is hilarious that you make that comparison. But yes, Stranger Things. I love season 4. I think it's the best season of Stranger Things.
Yo, but Stranger Things, they jumped the shark, man. It went from like kids just going missing and the upside down to like, yo, kids are getting murdered now. Like people are dying horrendous deaths. It went from PG-13 to NC-17, which I'm not complaining, but I was just like, damn, like I don't know when the new season's about to come out. But it's a hard R now. It's a hard R. Is this one like your favorite series to watch?
I would say Stranger Things was one of my favorite series even before season 4, but then season 4 took it to the next level by really rounding it with a great, like you said, a great villain. And they did a great job. If it wasn't part of the original plan, the writers did an amazing job of like retroactively making you understand that he's always been the threat behind the scenes, which is so good. It adds so much weight and stakes to the entire series.
Oh yeah, and
I'm a big believer. You're talking about the villain. Oh yeah. You're mentioning the worthy villains. I'm a big believer that the best media it starts with a good villain, and it's because the villain is kind of like the obstacle the hero has to overcome. And if your obstacle isn't great, then you don't feel the journey the characters have to go through. So when it came to the Arbiter or any of our villains, Psycho Empress, Vengix, I always try and make them feel like larger than life threats that if you take them down, it feels like something was accomplished, you know? And it's so important. You gotta have that hero's journey to feel
Yeah.
any feel sort of thing, you know?
Okay, yes, you do have to have the hero's journey, but you clapping some very historical Power Rangers. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who didn't see it. So that's where I'm just like, bruh, come on. I guess, but I was just like, I get it. I like it, but I'm like, seriously? I was like, seriously? Seriously? Some of the people who die in the Unworthy Productions, guys, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. I don't want to spoil anything. And, you know, I don't want to keep you any more than I have to. Who is your favorite content creator? See, I only got like 2 questions left. Who's your favorite content creators outside of myself, of course?
Of course. I was going to say Henry Brazilian is number 1.
Oh man.
I gotta give it to the Power Rangers community people that are like the pillars, like the Estes, the Disney brains, the Cantata forces that just keep the lights on in the Power Ranger community. My cats are fighting over there. That's crazy.
Yes, Este is awesome. I've had him on the show before.
Oh yeah, I love his videos. The filmmakers that inspire me on the platform, like the Bat and the Sons. I've talked to Aaron, and he's got some great. Maybe you can get him for an interview. He's got, in terms of like behind the scenes, really going through JDF's head, and it happened again.
It happened again. You know, I'm controversial, man.
Yeah,
you know, I am very controversial.
Yeah.
I just
trying to cut us off.
Here's the thing. I'll be completely honest with you. I just want to have adult conversations about Power Rangers. We could talk the movies. We could plug everything. But I do want to talk about things maybe not movie related. I do want to talk about things maybe behind the scenes. And what I find is some people, they don't want to have those conversations. They want, hey, what's my favorite episode? What product am I pushing? What's my favorite JDF memory? And then they just want to keep it moving. Where me, I'm like, hey, such and such just got arrested for PPP fraud. Can we have a conversation? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we live in a very PC world, and I think that's why your platform's so important and is resonating with people. Because this is important stuff to talk about, and it's things at this point you can't ignore, like the Austin St. John stuff,
the Hitler stuff. Okay, now we on this tangent. What do you think about the people who have said nothing about it, like some of his business partners, maybe other Power Rangers? What is going on with them in their silence?
What breaks my heart, I don't even name names because I'm sure because the community is small. You know, people are going to be talking, so it's like, do I want to say it? But there are people that are in Austin St. John's circle that are Ranger actors that speak on everything.
Stop talking about Karen Ashley without saying Karen Ashley, okay?
I didn't say nothing. I'm doing all love to Karen Ashley because I'm doing a Last and Jedi series that's based on Aisha. Oh, so like okay. I have love. I've got love for Aisha. I got love for these characters, these actors. But it's like it just makes you look hypocritical if you speak. You use your platform as like an activism sort of.
Going platform. In on Karen Ashley.
And then when it comes to stuff that's like so black and white, no pun intended, but it's so black and white like this, and you're gonna say nothing, and it's like that doesn't make sense, and it just makes you it cocks an eyebrow like,
yo, okay, Jordan,
so should I take you seriously when you talk about other stuff?
Yo, you got the third eye right here for real, because you hit the nail on the head and went straight for the jugular out the gate. Yes, I'm aware of other people's platforms and that they talk about everything, but you have to keep in mind, they also do business with this guy. They also going to have him at their convention. So I don't want to badmouth the guy. I'm looking forward to having that Ranger stop Atlanta because he's going to be the guy.
I mean, maybe they're not friends like that, but like if you were at least an associate or a business partner, or I would hope on some level, I'll use the word friend. You should talk to him. Like have that discussion and then make a statement maybe together if you need to. You know what I mean? Just but when nothing is said, it just, in the absence of any evidence, you're gonna just start filling in the blanks, and it's like, okay, so are you only an activist for convenience? Like, what is this?
Holy shit!
Let him cook.
Holy shit! Okay, you just cancel any Karen Ashley cameos, by the way. But
I got love for you. I'm saying this out of love as a fan.
Oh, the crazy thing is when Zach Taylor McGinnis made that post about Jason, everyone popped out and said something. Even Austin was like, hey, he didn't mean it. It was, it was a lapse of judgment. Forgive him. But everyone, including Karen Ashley, who, she was behind the order, she made a statement about Zach Taylor McGinnis. Pretty much everyone was like, oh, I don't support that. I don't support that. But Austin St. John says he wants to make Hitler shirts. And literally the only person that said something was Amy Jo. I mean,
that's it. That's it. It's insane. It's like, guys, it's too big. Like, it'd be one thing if Amy Jo didn't say what she said, which then blew it up. Like, if it wasn't on all of the social, like the entertainment sites, then it'd be one thing. It was like, all right, maybe you can wiggle by and be like, oh, I didn't see it. But it's like, when I'm getting messages from fans about it, it's like, I know you have to have. You have to have. You have to. It's like, I'm like a little kid. You have to have.
Karen actually like, I ain't saying nothing. Her name is Bennett and she ain't in it. Which is unfortunate because, I mean, she always got the short end of the stick, even in Power Rangers. They sent their ass back to Africa. But, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, you would expect her to be the most outspoken about it, but she wasn't.
That was who I expected to be the first one. I went right to her page like, she's got to say something. Nothing. Silence.
He's the headliner for Ranger Stop Atlanta right before he potentially go to jail. I don't know. If Austin St. John goes to jail, do you think people will say anything about that, or you think they'll just still be silent?
How could you not say anything? I mean, in the world we live in now is topsy-turvy, crazy PR world where perception is more than truth. I could see them saying nothing or just saying a few vague words about it. The diehard fans are gonna say whatever they're gonna say, but again, I would like to believe the rational majority who doesn't really speak on things in general are gonna look at it for what it is. It's like, oh, well, then that retroactively shows a lot about his character, and a lot of the other things that have been red flags now become crimson. No pun intended, Red Ranger, but the Crimson Ranger.
All right, now we cooking. Do you think there was real beef between the Green and Red Ranger, or do you think it was a media hype? There's a video out there of someone saying it was. That's
the Jacob of it all.
Oh,
I didn't even know Jacob. I didn't even know he was one of JDF's sons. I didn't know anything about him. So when I saw Jacob's video talking about it being a media hype first, or I saw your video and about everything about him. And at the time, I remember it was like, it was uncanny. He sounds just like JDF. Like, if you close your eyes, he literally sounds like the second coming of JDF. And, as a hardcore fan of the Green Ranger and of JDF, it's like, again, it's like, oh, it's the voice of an angel. But then the behind the scenes of it is like, oh, but the history of a devil. Like, oh my God, it's dark. And it's dark is even the right word. Like, what you've illuminated in your show is so important, because someone like me I might have fallen victim to someone like that, because I don't have the know the full story, So like, that's again why your platform is so important, to shed light on these things that people don't want to talk about.
You are probably one of two people online that are willing to have these conversations, that are willing to name names and willing to just put it all out on the table. Hey, yeah, I did see the stuff about Jacob Frank, where other people, they just kind of sweep it under the rug. They ignore it. So I commend you. And I'm telling you, it speaks volumes to your true character, as opposed to someone like you. Look, man, I'm just trying to get people to come onto my Patreon and just watch my stuff and give me money. I just want to do whatever I can so I can get people to sign up for my fan work or shit like that. So I commend you for standing on business when you came through here, because I was like, all right, man, I think we cooked enough. And you was like, hold on. He was like, hold on. Let's cook this one person. Let's talk about Karan Ashley. It's probably some residual resentment from the order and how it has impacted you, where you was like, hey, what? Look, we ain't gonna go through this without touching on Karan Ashley. God damn it! Like, I'm just saying, like, I could be wrong.
I swear I'm not trying to cook. But I do believe that,
let him
like,
cook.
in Jacob's situation, what I'm looking out for as a Ranger fan is just the legacy of the person that I did love, which was JDF. And I don't want anything to retroactively tarnish that reputation or like the legacy he left behind, because he's so iconic that, and just from the lens of a director now who's directed actors, everyone has their own X factor. They all bring something to the table inherently as the person that you are. JDF, there's a reason why he became as popular as he did. Like he was really about it. Like even you feel that the intensity in that, because behind the scenes he was actually about that life. You tested my manhood? That's the same guy.
Like, challenging my manhood?
Yo, you really be watching my content.
I really do watch your stuff, man. But yeah, so like that, it could have ended there. Like it could have just been his legacies on screen and who he is as a person shines through in his character. But he's so much more than that, that he made it his mission. Because I've also been doing a lot of binging. The reason why I tagged you in the Instagram post to begin with was because I married a video that you posted up of JDF talking about the Austin St. John issue before he died.
Yeah.
And I married it. Yeah, and I married it to a verse in one of his poems from his JDF Spoken Truth, because I've been doing a lot of JDF video binging. Now, especially, you look at those videos with a level of like insight into knowing that he made his mission to love his fans and to actually genuinely care about them and try to inspire them, because he understood that it was more important than just him being like the cool action guy from your childhood on screen. And he took that seriously enough to try and genuinely do right by his fans. And that's why he was the biggest in cons. That's why he's the most loved when it comes to not just, I like him on screen, but everybody who met him walked away with feeling the warmth that was genuinely a part of his soul. And that, it came from a place of, a lot of times his poetry and his words of wisdom came from his own inner turmoil, which makes it even more beautiful, because that means that even despite him hurting, he still tried to turn it into something that was meaningful for us to take away. Like that's a hero. Like I don't know how else to. I don't want to like be on my little violin soapbox for JDF, but like that's why I value his legacy so much, because he was more than just what he was on the screen. He made that his character in life, and he made sure the fans felt it.
Well, Jordan, man, I don't need to ask you anything else, because there's nothing that's going to top what you just said. So with that, everybody, go support Unworthy Productions. There's their YouTube. Go watch their content. Subscribe to them on Instagram. There's their Instagram. And if you feel as generous enough, join their Patreon, guys. You can join their Patreon for free. And if you feel like you want to up it, hey, it only costs $1. It's still cheaper than a lot of things that people are charging out there, and you actually going to get content. So, Jordan,
every dollar is possible what we're doing. So, thank you to anybody who supports.
Thank you, Jordan, and stick around for 1 second.